Good morning. A little bit of arm and leg strengthening, but let's start nice and easy with the spine. So if we think about the spine to be like a reed, we're going to try to bend it right from the top and we'll gradually work our way down the spine. So let's nicely, at least hip distance apart, just so we've got a strong foundation. And we'll start to lean to close the gap on one side of the neck and feel a stretch on the other side. Let the then shoulders drop and then come center slowly. So closing the gap, and then easing into a slightly deeper stretch. So we'll take it side to side, and you'll see that each time we come a little bit further down. But if you can pitch your spine so that we're not missing out chunks of the spine, every time we take a round side to side, we'll just be influencing a little bit further down the spine. It's a nice gentle start. I'll give you plenty of warning before we go on to the next. So if you want to close your eyes and make this an even gentle start, swaying side to side, but slowly, so you can check in and feel how the spine's feeling, letting the arms be heavy, shoulders relax, starting to feel more sensations down the sides of the body. If you need to take your legs a little bit wider to feel balanced, do so. But always peeling sideways from the top of the spine, maybe lifting one shoulder so you start to get a little bit more detail down the spine. Speed it up, it started to look like we were flossing. Gently does it. So the lower I go, I'm now starting to get little bits of stretches over the hip bone there, sort of sending the hip in the opposite direction. Let's say 2 more sets. Lovely. Last time, stay on one side, lift the top shoulder and extend the arm all the way over. Big stretch into the fingertips, bottom slightly tucked. Reach, breathe, lengthen, and then melt forwards and take it to the other side. Side bend, open the shoulder and then reach all the way overhead, stretching into the fingertips. Ah, nice. Very, very nice. All right, slowly come up. Let's shake out the legs. We're going to use the Warrior One stance just as a way to get into the hip flexors, but also then to give us a foundation for working the arms. So step 1 foot forwards. The front knee is going to be bent over the ankle. The back leg with the toes slightly turned out. And we're going to tuck the bottom under until you get that hip flexor stretch in the front of that back leg. Let's roll the shoulders back and down and just take a moment to ease ourselves into a gentle lengthening of the hip flexors. When we release out the hip flexors, you don't need to go to the end range. Just getting a nice sensation over the hip. Let's let the shoulders drop down, chin tucked to the heads directly over the ribs. And let's crack on. So if we think about classic Warrior One arms, keep that hip flexor stretching. We take the arms overhead, but shoulders down, bottoms tucked, front ribs together, core engaged. Take a deep breath in here. Before we switch to another arm position, we'll straighten the front leg, take a breath in, and then we'll slightly open the arms and come into a wider V. Now, from this position, the knees back over the front ankle, back leg still straight, bottom still tucking, so I'm still getting a hip flexor stretch here. Now, by tucking the bottom under, I'm thinking about curling the pubic bone up towards the ribs, so that gives me a little bit of core engagement to support the lower back from overextending. Shoulders back and down, front ribs together. So the arms in a slightly wider position, but I'm stretching into the fingertips. Can we have a sense of peeling the shoulders back so the shoulder blades come together without the ribs flaring? Breathing deeply. Next one, straighten the legs just to ease out. We'll take the arms a little bit further down into those W arms and the front knee rebends. Bottoms tucked. Stretching through the fingertips, shoulders are peeled back so the shoulder blades come together, but the front ribs are still drawn together. So your upper abdominals, those oblique muscles are engaged. Now palms are facing each other, thumbs to the back wall. So not so much elbows back, think thumbs back. Stick with it, nice deep breath in here to relieve out. And then we've got capital T arms. So as we come back into that bent front knee, arms out wide, palms facing upwards, bottom tucked, long line through the spine, chin tucked, stretching into the fingers, palms are facing upwards, thumbs to the back wall. Little squeeze between the shoulder blades, but again, without losing that corset pulling on the front of the body. Last one, straighten up, deep breath in here. This time, elbows all the way into the waist. See the shoulders coming right down away from the ears and sending that front shin forward so the legs are active. As soon as you press down through the feet and power through that front foot, you'll feel even your glutes, everything powered up a little bit more strongly. So imagine there's a big heavy book on each hand, so drawing the shoulders down, bottom tucked. Last time, relieving out the legs. This time, we're placing the hands behind the back. So we're pressing the backs of the hands into the spine, into the lower back there, and opening the shoulders. So shoulders back and down. Use the strength through the arms, the forearms, the backs of the hands to press. So this will help you tuck the bottom under to keep a nice long lower spine. Again, shoulders back and down. And we're going to hold and press our hardest, most intently for 10. Press the hands in, open the chest, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And slowly release. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit more open. Slowly step the legs in. We've got the other side to do. A little bit of a shake out, then stepping your other foot forward. So initially I want you to just concentrate on finding a nice hip flexor stretch here. So we'll support the lower back here, fingers pointing down, and just send the hips forwards a little bit. Shoulders back and down, chin tucked, and start to find that core engagement. Starting to think about breathing into the back of the body or feeling a little bit of expansion sideways in the ribs so that we don't flare the ribs forwards. Take a moment here, find a nice, gentle, not overdoing it, stretching the hip flexors, and let's get the arms overhead. So classic warrior one arms, stretching into the fingers, but the shoulders are down. Shoulders back, bottom tucked. Take a breath in here. In between each, we'll straighten the front leg. Put breath in, breathing out, rebend the knee, and open the arms a little bit wider. Starting to feel the work into the lats. Again, peeling the shoulders back a little bit, shoulder blades together, shoulders down away from the ears. Now make sure we're not just sinking into the hips, press energetically through the feet and think about that shin. As if my hand was on the front shin and you're driving it forwards, bottom tucked. Again, take a breath in to straighten the leg. We'll take the arms further down, so palms again facing each other, bottom tucked. Think about the thumb reaching the wall behind, long spine, chin tucked, thumbs back, breathing deeply. So we feel the ribs come together. Even have a sense of as if you could bring the two hip points together. So we have a little bit of engagement, extra engagement in the lower abs. So breath in to straighten. We take capital T arms, again driving the knee forwards. As we've been holding this a while, you may start to get tired, and that's when that front knee can dip in. So let's keep it charging forwards, bottom tuck, chest opening here, heart opening, shoulders back and down. You're nearly there. And take the arms overhead, relieve out for a quick leg stretch, and then elbows all the way into the waist. So that sense of kind of weight arms, offering arms. Feel the weight on the palms of the hands, thumbs to the back wall. You know, there's only one more after this. Breathing deeply. Think about how lovely your posture opening across the chest will be. So last time, straightening out here, hands behind the back. Pressing the backs of the hands into the lower back, rolling the shoulders back. This helps you to tuck the bottom under, but we still want to keep that opening, deliberate opening in the chest. So hip flexors, legs strong, shin forwards, hips pretty much square to the front, longest possible spine now and neck. Press the hands, the backs of the hands in, and use that strength pressure to open across the chest and press for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done, and release out. Draw the leg forwards. Let's take a goddess position. So now we've got a point of symmetry here now for the body. Let's open the knees out wide, just checking how that feels. Bending. Now, a quicker round, because you know what to expect, you know all the positions. Let's take the arms overhead, big breath in. You can just have a little tick-tock of the hips here, just because it feels nice. And then we'll take those goddess knees out to the side, arms open, we're in a V shape. Bottom tuck, long spine, head back, try to avoid the chest coming forwards. Thumbs to the back wall, actively draw the shoulders down. Breathe in to straighten, have a little tick-tock, and then come back down into your goddess squat. W arms. You can have a little bit of movement here if the static pose is a little bit too intense. Breath in to stretch, capital T, arms reach out wide. Knees pointing to the side wall. Now watch, hands come forwards, up, back and down. Circle forwards, up, back and down. A little bit of pulse in the knee. Let's go 10, 9, chest open, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straighten the legs, arms overhead, tick-tock, deep breath in, and then the elbows coming all the way into the waist. Thumbs again to the back wall so we get that external rotation, the shoulder, bottoms tucked, core strong. One more breath in, then stretch, hands behind the back. See if you can have the other arm on top. Using the backs of the hands into the lower back, shoulders back and down. And we're using that pressure, press, hands in to open the chest. We use the hands on the back of the body to avoid sticking the bottom out. So long through the lower spine, shoulders down. Breathe deeply and press. This is the last time. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release out, turn heel the feet in, give the legs a shake. We're going to come down to the floor now. So if you make your way down, sit on the bottom, have the legs out in front of you. I'll just lower this just a touch. We're coming into the 100, and then we'll take a nice stretch for the hips. All right, 100, onto the core. You can hold the backs of the knees, lean back. We're going to pat, the emphasis is patting down with a straight arm, whether it's patting down with the palm or the back of the hand, emphasis pressing down. If you like, lift the legs, maybe we come to tabletop. And when you're ready, we're going to pat down with the palms for 5, the backs of the hands for 5. An optional extension of the leg will be added in, so just follow along. So long spine, reach into the fingertips and vigorously pat down 2, 3, 4, 5 and up 2, 3, 4, 5. Palms down 2, 3, 4, 5 and up 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2, 3, 4, 5 and up 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2, 3, 4, 5 and up 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2, 3, 4, 5 and up 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2, 3, 4, 5 and up 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2, 3, 4, 5 and up 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2, 3, 4, 5, really there. 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2, 3, 4, 5. Up 2, 3, 4, 5. Last down 2, 3, 4, 5. Up 2, 3, 4, 5. Roll back onto the spine. Have a little rock on the spine. Hugging the knees into the chest. A little one now for the hips, because we did all of that work. Standing up, we come off to all fours. We'll just use this position just to have a little sway of the hips before we come into a cow face pose to get a nice stretch in the hips. I think most of you know by now with the cow face, doesn't matter how far you sit back, whether you sit on the floor or on a foot or your bottom sticking in the air, it's absolutely fine as long as you're getting a nice stretch in the hips. So let's cross one knee over the other. Did you get that? One knee over the other, then separate the feet. And then when you place your hands forward a little bit, that'll allow you to slowly lower your hips back. Maybe your forearms come to the floor. Maybe you edge your way back, maybe sitting on the foot. Maybe you find a little space with sit bones somewhere in between. Doesn't matter. So whether you're on your forearms And your bottom's in the air, or all the way into a forward fold here. Stick with it, and we're here for 5 breaths. See if you can use the power and softening of that out breath to coax a little bit of softening in the hips. Down through the whole body. So try to reduce as much effort in the body as possible so the head can drop. It's helpful to have that upper body weight coaxing you down anyway. Nice deep breath, in and out of the nose, or the mouth if you prefer. Particularly on the out breath, it can be a nice release. One more breath here, and then we'll be lifting up and taking it to the other side. So no jerking of the head, slowly rebuild, come on up. And let's cross over the legs the other way. You might want to have a little shimmy of the hips in between, and then take the other knee on top. Separate the feet, because if not today, if not this year, you know, at some point we may end up sitting in between the feet. So we'll start as we mean to go on, pave the way for going a little bit deeper. But for now, you want to find a point where it's just a nice level of stretch in the hips. The classic cow face pose will be with an arm bind, but I feel you've done enough of the arms. So I'd rather use the upper body weight to just find some softening through the body. We've just got a couple more breaths here. Soften down. Release any clenching. One last breath here. And then slowly sit upright. The next one I want to demonstrate because it'll make sense when you're doing it, but I'd like you to know what the shape is. From your belly, if we take like a half frog, knee out to the side, we're obviously getting a hip opening here. Optional work into the triceps here, but this essentially knee out to the side is position 1. Position 2, corresponding arm to the leg is going to thread through, and we take a stretch for the back, a twist for the back. Third, the opposite arm threads through, and we roll into an open twist. Okay, I'm going to talk you through so I think you can see why I wanted to demonstrate first so that you know what you're going for. Let's take the right knee out to the side, you're on your belly, and just take a moment to see how much of an opening, how much of a gap is there where we're not going to overdo it, no overstretching the inner thigh, just get a nice hip opening there. You may come all the way to the floor, stacking the hands. If that's not as much of a stretch, you can come up into more like a yin seal stretch. But know that your target area is just a little bit of a hip opening here. Go easy with taking a lift like this. This is quite a deep extension in the lower spine. And if you want to take those tricep dips, keep the shoulders down. And we haven't got time for many. We're just staying here. Remember, the main emphasis is on trying to soften. Are you clenching your gluteals? Try to soften down, relax into this. Whatever position you're in, shoulders down away from the ears, nice and relaxed. So thinking ahead, the second position is the arm that corresponds to that bent knee. We're threading that one through. So when you're ready, take your time. Different levels of flexibility, and this is very much upper back rotation, so go easy. So the same hand thread through, the same cheek on the floor, and you may just rest here, or you may use that left hand fingertips to deepen that upper spine twist. So it's almost as if you're trying to look over your left shoulder to deepen that upper spine twist. But let's be clear, as long as you're getting an opening in the right hip, or the bent knee if you're not on the right leg there, that's the main thing, trying to find softening there. So here adding an upper spinal twist is an optional add-on. As you breathe in, feel the belly pressing into the floor. As you breathe out, softening head to toe. We're here for 3 breaths. Nice deep belly breathing. to come out. We'll slowly come on to all the forearms, and it's the other arm threading through now. Thread it through, arms are stacked, and we clam open the chest so that we turn the chest up to the ceiling. Don't worry if both shoulder blades aren't on the floor, or if the knee's not on the floor. We're just now getting a bit of relief in that hip where it had been open, so a counter for the hip, and then just working on a nice opening across the chest, just to reinforce the work we were doing standing up. Again, we're just going to take a couple of breaths here, so that maybe you can release tension in the body. Just feel the head heavily resting on the floor, neither forcing the knee down or the shoulder, just letting gravity do the work. Lengthening the out breath, finding a little bit of softening. No rush. We're going to roll back onto the tummy. We'll be bending the other leg. So if you're doing the same as me, that'll be a bend into the left knee for a half frog. So draw the knee out to the side. You decide how far and how deeply you go into that hip opening. And just take a moment here. Make sure there's no funny pulling on the knee. Making any adjustments. Maybe you're already with the forehead down on the hands, in which case, well done. Making the most of just settling in and releasing the glutes, the thighs. Let's not try to create a very specific shape. If the feet start to wander a little bit, let them soften, let them come into whatever position is comfortable. We're opening the hip, and that's great. And then just using patience and a nice calm breath to ease the hip. So those optional tricep dips can come in here, but just being mindful of your lower back, because you're really deeply extending the lower spine there. So particularly if you've got any spine wiggles, I would leave this out altogether. You've done plenty on your arms. Nice deep breaths. Have a sense of every out breath, taking the hips a little bit deeper, but without force, just the breath, just gravity, releasing the muscles. Thinking ahead, the knee that's bent, that's the arm that's going to thread through. So when you're ready, let's thread the hand through, palms facing upwards, cheek, temple comes to the floor, and either you're resting here with a gentle twist, or you deepen it by pressing into your fingertips and starting to stack the top shoulder over the bottom. Feel the shoulder blade gliding over the back ribs into a little bit of a rotation in the upper back. The further you go, the more you're deepening the stretch of the inner thigh of the bent leg. And again, finding softening. Maybe you could just focus on the breath, the belly pressing into the floor as you breathe in. And then the softening head to toe as you breathe out. Making any adjustments like to the position of the head, the feet, anything to be slightly more comfortable. You have one more breath in this position, and then we take it into the open twist. So taking your time, we'll come back onto the forearms. You're threading the other arm through. So it's the other cheek on the floor, the arms are clamming open now, and we turn gently, bottom tucking under, so we've got a long lower spine, opening the heart up to the ceiling, and then finding softening. Release the shoulders down away from the ears, chin slightly tucked, arms out wide, but the fingers gently curled naturally. You can use one hand on the top knee to coax it down if you feel you want to rotate the spine a little bit more. Otherwise, just finding a softening here in a nice open position. And notice if you are clenching, sometimes we think, well, I won't be here for long, so I'll just clench and hold myself there. Relax, come out to the position a little bit. It's fine if you do, if relaxing the muscles makes that happen. That's fine. One more breath here before we roll onto the tummy and take a child pose. So we'll close the arms, rolling back onto the side of the head, drawing the knees in, and you transition slowly into a child pose and have a little rock there, letting the upper body melt down over the thighs. As you breathe in now, before we were thinking about the belly pressing into the thighs, now breathe into the back of the body, the lower spine. In case you were extending the spine now, as if puffing it all back out and finding space, decompression in the lower spine. We're placing the hands over to the right to take a stretch for the left side of the body. Keep the head down low. Use as much pressure, active work through the hands, pacing around to the side as you need to get a nice level of stretch, opening in the side of the body. And then take it across to the other side. Pacing the hands round, opening at the other side of the body, head heavy, shoulders down. And then gently place the hands to the center. Roll on up. Let's take the arms overhead for a big stretch. Tricep stretch, drop one hand down the back, walk the fingers down the spine. Breathing deeply, you can take a little bit of a sway here. And then we'll take the same arm across the body for a deltoid stretch. Arm across, hook, and gently pull out. So drop the head in the opposite direction, neck release. Shoulders down, lightly pulling the arm out to the socket and pulling back, so creating space in the shoulder and in the neck by dropping the head. Nice soft jaw, kind of naturally kind of soothe and rock. Something quite soothing about gently rocking side to side. One more breath here, and then we'll take the arms overhead, tricep stretch on the other side. Slowly release the head back to center, arms overhead for a stretch. Drop the other fingers down the back, use the fingers to walk down the spine. A little bit of a side to side stretch here. Shoulders pretty much down away from the ears, naturally they'll hike up a little bit. Nice deep breath. And then into the deltoids, take the arm across. I like to put my arm underneath so I can get a good strong hold around the biceps. Drop the shoulder down, drop the head away from the target shoulder. Nice deep breathing, relaxed. Finding space in the shoulder and space in the neck. Think about how much time we spend with the head directly forward. Giving a little bit of release. Wonderful. Slowly release the head, release the shoulders. Hold the shoulders, let's say the elbows together, all the way up, and then peel the shoulders back. Feel the shoulder blades coming together and then melting down into those deep pockets. Shoulders right down, nice long neck. So let's synchronize with a breath. Elbows come in, and breathe out, softening the shoulders down, shoulder blades down. Twice more, deep breath in, shoulder roll. Breathing out, softening, lengthening the neck. Last time, big breath in to stretch. Gonna throw a down dog up to standing in for you here. Hands to the floor, tuck the toes. Slowly lift the hips, pedal it through from one foot to the other. Thinking about stretching in all directions, heels towards the floor without force. Head and chest coming through the arms to lengthen the spine. Nice deep breaths, ready to come up into a Ragdoll Fold. Either walk the feet to the hands or the hands back to the feet. Pause in a Ragdoll Fold, circle out the wrists, shake out the head. We're going to take one roll up here, so soften the knees, engage your core and rebuild the spine from the base up. Think about this as resetting the spine for the rest of the day, the rest of the week. Find space and resolve to keep the space in the spine right through the week. At the top, rolling the shoulders back and down. Have a little shake out. And let me unmute you.